So today our guest, CEO and founder of Ether.fi, Майком Силагадзе. Warm welcome, Mike. And before we start, could you please tell us more about Ether.fi?
Yeah, thanks for having me, and happy to do that. So Ether.fi is a liquid staking protocol on the Ethereum blockchain. And what does that mean? Well, staking on Ethereum is the mechanism by which users all over the world help secure the Ethereum blockchain. So for example, with Bitcoin is secured by people running computers that are more or less guessing random numbers and get rewards if they guess right. In Ethereum, the way Ethereum is secured is by people staking the Ethereum Ether cryptocurrency, and therefore getting a right to run one of these computers that processes Ethereum transactions. So that's staking on Ethereum. You stake this ETH and you get the right to run a server that processes transactions in exchange for staking rewards. Normally, when you stake your Ether, it is locked by design. You're putting it at stake. You're locking it. What Ether.fi does is give you a liquid receipt token. So basically, you lock your ETH to stake it, but you get a receipt token, which then you can use in other DeFi projects to do all the normal things that you would expect to be able to do in crypto. Specifically, you can borrow against the token, you could take leverage, you can mint other coins out of it, you could do all the fun stuff that you want to do with with Ether.fi. The thing that makes Ether.fi different versus other liquid staking protocols, like let's say, for example, Rocket Pool or Lido, if you've heard of those, is that Ether.fi is natively restaked. So restaking is this next great narrative in crypto and Ethereum specifically, where in addition to securing Ethereum with your ETH, you can secure other services. So those other services can be other blockchains or oracles or other services that sort of operate and need some sort of economic security. And by restaking your ETH, meaning staking it on Ethereum and then staking it again on those other services, you are increasing the rewards that you're getting, because now you're getting rewarded across a variety of these different services. But of course, you're also taking on some additional risk. And so that's the trade-off. But the thing that makes Ether.fi unique is that we are a new liquid staking protocol with restaking built right into it. We launched the product back in November, which doesn't seem that long. It's only been 5 months or so. But we've had an absolutely sort of meteoric rise where we've got around $3 billion of staked ETH now. It's just been a very rapid increase. And we just recently launched our token on OKX, of course, our governance token, and that's gone I would say incredibly well. It's been a pleasure to work with the OKX team and community.
Thank you so much for such kind of warm words in the end. And I noticed on the website that we can maximize our rewards with Ether.fi. Can you tell us the basics about the mechanism of staking?
Yeah, so by the way Ether.fi works is you go to Ether.fi, you deposit your ETH, you stake it, and then you get eETH, which is the liquid staking token. The benefit of that liquid staking token is that you are accruing rewards from stakers, from staking. Specifically, I think it's around 3%, a little over 3%. But in addition to that, you are also getting restaking rewards, which are not available yet because restaking is not live, but will be soon. And you're earning loyalty points. You're earning loyalty points from Ether.fi, from EigenLayer, and then actually other projects that you may want to deposit into. So for example, examples, if you take that ETH and then put it into Zirkit, which is another layer 2 blockchain, you get to earn Zirkit points. If you put it into Pendle, you get to, you can do all kinds of fun stuff. So the idea is with Ether.fi, it is deeply integrated into lots of other projects. And so you can use that ETH receipt token in lots of projects across the ecosystem to earn additional rewards, again, with risk associated. Anything you do in crypto has some risk associated with it. So any user needs to understand what risk are they taking by taking any action. So it is something that requires some level of sophistication. One thing that I guess I should mention is we just recently launched our next product, which is called Ether.fi Liquid. So the first product is called Ether.fi Stake. The next product is called Ether.fi Liquid. And what Liquid does is actually automate all that stuff for you. So you don't need to try and, if you want to, you can still do it, but you don't need to now try and figure out what are the 50 different things I can do with the eETH token. Instead, you just put it into Liquid and it automatically deploys it for you. And there's a level of risk management there and other benefits. So for users that aren't interested in doing the really complicated financial stuff, the Liquid is a good option if they're willing to take some additional risk for additional reward.
Okay, so I noticed that, and time to ask questions from our community. And the first question from D3 Mate about the future of the project and what partnerships maybe you have or planning to have with other projects.
Yeah, I mean, we have tons. We have more that I could probably go through at this point. We recently mentioned that we're going to be listed on Aave, which is it's the most popular lending and borrowing protocol. So that's a huge milestone for us because Aave is the most liquid lending market in DeFi, and so you'll be able to use your eETH inside of Aave to borrow against it or lend it out. So that's a huge partnership. And then, we're going to be launching on a whole lot of layer twos, in particular focusing on native minting, which means you'll be able to mint eETH right from these layer two blockchains. And that's something that we're very excited to be doing.
Oh, yeah, it's interesting. Thank you. And of course, in our community, mostly the traders, and they are asking, Ina Lian, she's asking about the token. What benefits to hold, to use of the token?
Specifically the governance token or the liquid staking token?
Both, I think.
Well, okay. So the liquid staking token, I guess I kind of talked about, where you stake it and you earn Ethereum rewards. It's just ETH. It's just wrapped ETH that is earning staking and restaking rewards and all these loyalty points. The governance token is, it's the token that is used, that was launched on OKX, that is used to vote on protocol changes. The first proposal as part of the protocol DAO is to turn on a buy and lock mechanism. So basically a portion of protocol revenue is going to be used to purchase this governance token and lock it, such that there's always, I guess you could sort of think of it as decreasing the circulating supply of it over time. And then in addition, of course, as I mentioned, you can use to vote on stuff. And there's a staking mechanism that we are working on that we'll be able to talk about later on.
Thank you. And the next question from Salim about the security. I know that for everyone, security is number one. And his question is, how does Ether.fi use decentralization to improve the security and efficiency of staking?
So there's lots of things that we are doing. Ether.fi is very strongly non-custodial, which is what I mean by that is it is a protocol where the stakers actually control their validator keys. We're the only protocol that has that design, which I think helps with decentralization and risk management. It ensures that when you go to redeem eETH for ETH, you can actually get it back. We are one of only two liquid staking providers that actually has redeemable ETH, which is, I think, a huge feature, which means the token you can always get your ETH back out of it, basically. Whereas with other protocols, you either have to trade for it, which means you're losing value through slippage, or you may not be able to get it back at all. So the fact that it's redeemable is a big deal. The other element is that we are putting a big emphasis and focus on solo stakers. That means we want to involve like a broad range of node operators, not just sort of large professional operators. We have, I think, roughly 15 different like node operators that are onboarded onto Ether.fi, and then we're obviously onboarding more over time.
Let's think about the future, and the next question related to this is a question from Stavis. How do you see the future of the decentralized finance, and how might Ether.fi a role in this future?
That's a very broad question. I mean, our hope is that we become one of the most popular liquid staking tokens that is in the ecosystem. And so, I believe that eventually most ETH is actually going to be staked. And when most ETH is staked, there's going to be a bunch of different solutions for staking it, and we hope that we will play that role. And we want to make sure that our token is the most liquid, the most usable, kind of all over the DeFi ecosystem.
I hope that it will be in the nearest future. And let's back to nowadays. And we have a question from our active member of community with long nickname GGG-S. He is asking about the tools. What tools are provided to users to analyze and evaluate the effectiveness of their participation in delegated staking on the Ether.fi platform?
I mean, probably the easiest, the most basic thing is that there's a portfolio page on the Ether.fi website. And so you stake your ETH, you go to the portfolio page, and it shows you all the different things you can do with the token. It shows you the reward rate that you're getting. It shows you how many points you've accumulated in Ether.fi and EigenLayer. So that's kind of the basics of it.
And thank you. And next question from Lubick 9087. He is asking about advantages of Ether.fi in compare with other projects.
And I think there's other projects have a lot of good functionality that we think is our approach is different, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily the best for everybody. So I think each user has to kind of make a decision for themselves. One of the things that we focus on is I kind of mentioned the non-custodial nature of it. So the fact that we have a redemption mechanism and it's very strongly non-custodial is something that is an important consideration. I think it's probably fair to say we have the most DeFi integrations. So we have there's the most different things that you can do with your liquid staked token. And then the DeFi, the automated vault. So Ether.fi Liquid is, I think, something unique to us and makes our users' lives a lot easier.
Thank you. And we have a question from one of our members, Pon Som, and he's asking about newcomers. I think we started a little bit about that, but you know that, for example, on OKX, we have a lot of materials, video materials, how to use it, and etc. So do you have something like that with materials, some tutorials, and what is your opinion about newcomers? Is it easy to use for them?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's pretty easy. Like, go to Ether.fi, it's one button, right? Like, it's about as easy as you can get. If you go to Ether.fi and click stake, you're pretty much done. You don't really need to do anything else. We do have a lot of documentation about details of how the protocol works, and that is in our Gitbook page. It's linked from our website. And we do have tutorials and guides, but honestly, it's pretty self-explanatory.
Thank you. Next question is asking about your cash service. Are you planning this?
Yeah.
And if you will talk about cuts, for him it will be very interesting what countries will be in
That's
this.
a great question.
Yeah.
So the cash product is basically a way for you to be able to spend your crypto in the real world. So imagine being able to plug in your Ether.fi deposits and being able to use them in the real world to buy stuff. The specifics of that are still very much in discussion. So I unfortunately we don't have very good answers on where what countries will launch in. Probably we'll start with Europe just because it makes the most sense and it's it's more feasible there. But I don't know if that's 100% the case.
And our ninth question from Paul 11991 asking about tokenomics of the projects, and can you tell us more about this?
Yeah, so we so the first component is the airdrop, and we're doing about an 11% of the supply given to early users through an airdrop. We're doing 2 seasons of that. The first one just happened. The next one is running right now. So if you want to participate in season 2, if you can do that by staking some ETH, and that it'll be around June. that wraps up. The other aspects of the tokenomics is that the token will be, I think I mentioned that the protocol will use its revenue to buy and lock the token, and then there will be a staking component as well. We haven't determined sort of our emission schedule for the token from the DAO, but that's something that we are thinking about.
I think that the full information of tokenomics user can find on your website.
Yeah, that's right, in our governance page.
Yeah. And the last question from this user for today, it's from Ivanchuk P, and he's curious, how does the Ether.fi protocol deal with centralization problem in the context of delegated staking?
Yeah, I guess so. I think it's a very important problem to think about. The simple answer to that is having many node operators and having a big focus on solo stakers. I think that's probably the simplest answer I can give.
Thank you. And before we end our meeting, I want to summarize everything in 30 seconds to explain new users what benefits and why they should choose Ether.fi.
The simplest thing is, if you're interested in Ethereum staking, Ether.fi is probably the easiest way to do it. So just go to Ether.fi and stake some ETH, and then you're done. You really don't need to do anything else. If you're looking to play around in DeFi, but you don't know where to start or it's too complicated, then same thing, go to Ether.fi, and then you can deploy into the Liquid product, which kind of automates a lot of that for you. And then watch out for, I guess, future product announcements and promotions, which we do frequently, via our Twitter or Discord accounts.
Thank you. It sounds really easy to use and understandable for everyone, for newbies and for experienced traders.
Sounds good. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.